Welcome back to another episode of Riffing with the Sappers. Very happy to have Chris Zanardelli back joining us, and actually this time we will get to review one of Chris's games. My son, who's a senior this past season, was actually playing in a match where Chris, turns out, I showed up at the field and Chris was the assigned center referee. So then once we saw the video, I said, hey, I've got the video. Why don't you come on back on the channel and we'll review it. So yeah, Chris, tell us a little bit about what you've been up to.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, this high school season was great. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I don't know, it rejuvenated me, which was amazing. I'm now the assigner for Natomas Youth Soccer, and looking to expand my horizons in both the local youth as well as the collegiate soccer ranks, as well as the other sports that I do officiate.
Also, hot off the presses, so I did actually a couple weekends ago complete the course to become a referee mentor in Northern California. So now I'm certified to lead at least the new referee sessions, and excited to start getting into that. Also excited to start taking the continuing referee education courses that they offer to mentors and apply that to our own game reviews. So.
Absolutely, and that's the deal. Is Scott, you and I both have a ton of experience, and we've seen lots of stuff that newer or lesser experienced officials will see, and we can help them to avoid getting those same scars that we got.
Actually, one of my hopes of this channel, I'm not, qualified to be an assessor, but one of my hopes of this channel is just by me self-reflecting on my own mistakes and others who are willing to come in and review your own games like this. Hopefully you as our viewers can learn from some of those mistakes too.
Absolutely.
Good, strong, long whistle.
Well, and that's really it. 100%, brother, is the long, hard, strong whistle says we're about to do something. Everybody knows that something's happening. And those little whistles, like after goals, just boop, done. We're playing. But the end of the half, start of the half, big, strong, long, blow the freaking whistle.
I don't know.
About 6 minutes into the match, we've got the black team attacking up the sideline, and there's the white team swings a leg into the way. It's a cheap, easy foul right in front of the bench. Match control. It lets the coaches know that I'm paying attention. Here we go. About 10 minutes into the match, we've got an aerial ball coming through. Two players go up for it. One of them falls down. Just because a player falls down doesn't mean we've got a foul called. They're both looking for the ball. They come together. One of the players falls awkwardly. This is a contact sport. Sometimes people fall down. Notice that neither player looks for a foul there. And the game didn't expect it. Nobody's looking at me. If you were to look at the on-field audio, there was no claim for a foul. Everybody expected it, so we play.
It's funny, these are the types of ones where sometimes you get like spectators and the fans.
Absolutely, yep.
Upset, but like these boys, like they're not expecting anything. They're there, like they know. Let's just play.
Yeah. Alrighty, a goalkeeper punt here, coming in right to left and going down the sideline, and white is just through the back of the black player, and it's a pretty easy call. If you're really looking at the audio here, I've got the whistle in my mouth at the same time that the flag goes up, so we both had it, we both called it, and stone cold. Just a minute later, we've got black controlling the ball near their bench, and we got just a simple trip, goes down in front of the bench. This is another one of those game management fouls in which you want to make sure that the coaches understand that you're paying attention. Maybe a little light, however, it's right in front of the bench, so let's call the foul, put the ball on the ground, kick and let's go.
It's interesting, the comments here. We've had a couple of fouls right in front of the bench, and that was obviously on your mind when you made both of those calls, right?
Yeah.
That's actually something that as I've developed as a referee, honestly, probably for the first, I would almost even say 1,000 games I officiated, I didn't pay enough attention to, right? It's really been in the last year and a half, sometime since I started this channel, I've actually started paying more attention to that position on the field, and that you've got to be a lot more careful in that area. And I think it's paid dividends for me, at least.
Absolutely. With all the coaches there and all of the substitutes there, once those mouths start running because you may or may not have missed something, that just keeps on rolling. Once the genie's out of the bottle, you can't shove it back in like toothpaste. All right, 16 minutes into the match, a throw in for black. and then the black player gets folded over by the white player. If you don't have a foul there, get your eyes checked. That's a foul. Put the ball down, kick, and let's run.
Now, I've noticed here, we're obviously 16 minutes in with, 5 decisions. This would be the 5th decision. And so far, it seems like really, I can't remember if they all were or if almost all of them were committed by white, which unfortunately is my son's team. But here, I'm curious if it registered for you that, you kind of had one team committing more of the fouls at this moment.
At this point in time, no, it didn't. They all were pretty clear-cut fouls. Nothing super physical. They've all been in a similar spot on the field, which might be the same player. It might be the same person who's been victimized by these fouls, which could be a persistent offenses type of deal. But 16 minutes in, that's a little rough to come out with the first yellow. All right, 22 minutes in. Got a ball played to the center back, and he gets tripped. But he maintains possession, and he gets a pass off to what ostensibly is his teammate. But the foul was called. Advantage. No, not advantage. Maintaining possession is not advantage here. Call the foul, have the free kick. You're transitioning from your defending third to your middle third. There's no advantage 65 yards from goal.
And I know our high school association has given guidance that, down there in that defending third, even some in the middle third, really, it needs to be very obvious.
Very obvious.
Otherwise, you're better off just calling that for game control.
Yep.
Looks like it's about 5 minutes later before we've got our next decision, and it is an offside one. And so this White's bringing the ball up. There's the pass. We see this player over here who gets called for offside. But if I bring it back to the moment of decision, which is right there when he kicks it, we can't actually see him on screen, but we do see our second to last defender over here, just north of the 25. Looks like on the 26-yard line for the football field. And then we scroll over. This player's not even sprinting, so while we couldn't see it at the time, I think I remember being in the stands on this one and thinking, what are you doing? Way out there.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. We are 32 minutes in. Black driving into the goal area, or the penalty area. And I have the touch by the black player, a little far, running onto it. I had the goalkeeper touch it. Arms stayed down in playing position, and the attacker goes over the top of the keeper after the keeper makes a legal touch on the ball. And then let's talk about that save off the line by the defender.
That's nice.
Yes. And in this play here, we don't have anybody looking for a foul there. Nobody's looking for a foul.
When that player, that attacker came in, he actually makes a super high soccer IQ move. You look when that shot gets taken.
Oh yeah, he ducks back down.
He ducks his head, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a super high soccer IQ move.
Yes.
Very impressive, both by him and the defender.
Absolutely.
That's a good play all around.
For sure.
I often say, though, that these challenges where an attacker's coming in, goalkeeper's coming out, split-second decisions between is it no foul, is it a PK, is it a foul where you're coming back out,
right.
And oftentimes you're sprinting down with not the best angles, right?
No.
So always glad when we watch these and feel like we made the right decision.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Now, I did want to ask you, Chris, here, obviously the video's not as clear as maybe it is there in person, but that goalkeeper color-wise, looks an awful lot like his own players there.
He for sure does, and let's chalk it up to I missed on this one. I really wasn't even paying attention to the goalkeeper shirt when we kicked it off. Had I would have said something about it. Additionally, the goalkeeper's socks need to not match their opponent's. As you can see, the goalkeeper's wearing black socks and the opponent is wearing black socks. So the socks would have needed to have changed also.
I know doing high school, I have, and particularly since a lot of times they're at night, under lights, I have had this happen to me way more than I care to admit, where before the game, I get somebody either on the other team or even one of my own assistant referees say, hey, are you okay with that goalie's color? And I look at it and say, you know what, it's close enough. I can see it. I can see it. But what I don't realize is that the sun's still up a little bit, right?
Right.
And then when the sun goes down and we're playing under the lights and now I'm not as close to him, suddenly I get down with a scrum happening or a corner kick or something, and I look in and I'm like, oh, crud.
Yeah, right.
I made a mistake.
All right, just a minute later in the 33rd minute, we've got a ball being controlled by White, and Black's there, and Black's there, and Black's there, and just giving him the business in the back. And I can see it for a couple of seconds, but good heavens, man, give him a break. And so we'll just take the foul. It's easy. There's no expense there. There's no harm in a foul on the attack or the defending 25-yard line. Let's just put the ball down, kick and go. A minute later, a goal clearance coming out, and the two players get their arms locked, and White maybe puts a little bit of a shoulder into it, affects Black getting back onto that ball, and the possession switched because Black had the touch on the ball, and then was switched back to White, and call a foul again right in front of the bench area.
Sometimes I find these to be a little bit challenging because it does look like these two players come in, they get their arms locked together, right? Which then becomes like this 50-50. Okay, yeah, are there fouls happening? Probably. But they're both fouling, right? So then it's like, well, who do you call it on? Now, obviously here with the final shoulder, he makes that an easy choice. Plus you're right in front of their bench. So even if you've got to call something there for game management, you're probably going to give it to the team.
Absolutely. Well, I have it written down here on my notes as that was a game management foul. Even if it's 40-60, even if it's not 50-50, even if it's not 51-49 there, you're in front of the bench of the player you're granting the foul to. Done.
In the same minute, we've got an offside decision. I'm going to play it through here. We'll see there's kind of a one touch, then this player deflects it with his foot, and then he goes in for an attack, and then the AR pops up his flag for an offside. But once we kind of looked at this on video, there's a couple of subtleties to this one that are interesting. If we go to when this player one times it right there, let's look and see, is this player offside? Like the second to last defender is up here on what appears to be roughly the 7-yard line, right? The attacker here is probably also on the 7. Now, impossible in this camera angle to know for sure.
Oh, right.
But it does look like he's probably onside here. And then if I just play this through slowly, it's actually this touch right here when this player deflects it in with his foot. It does really actually a high soccer IQ move there. And now this player has come up. This player is still further back. So it is definitely clearly offside. So correct decision. Now, your AR, it's weird on his flag mechanics. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing there. No. But he kind of slowly starts to put up his flag. But, I would kind of suggest, if you're an assistant referee watching this, that, when you've got an attacker coming in there and the goalkeeper coming out, like, we really need to be getting that flag up fast. I don't know if it would have made a difference as close as they are here, but we need to be trying. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. The good guidance is, we can wait and see on things where there's not going to involve a collision, but don't wait and see when you're about to have a collision. Pop the flag immediately and early and fast and as quickly as possible so that we can get that play shut down. 38th minute, we've got Black with possession, touches the ball, touches towards the sideline. The defender comes in, stops as they see that touch, and then the Black attacker tries to step over the feet of the defender who has stopped themselves, and they bump legs, and he falls down. And there was no call. There's no need. I can't reward an out-of-control body.
So, Chris, it was only like 30 seconds after that last decision that I noticed when I was watching this on the film that there's just a simple throw-in, and then suddenly you run across the field and you pick something up here. And I'm really curious, what was going on there? Like, did somebody drop something dangerous? Like, what was happening?
Nobody dropped anything dangerous. If you notice, as I pick that up, I switch it into my right hand, and I switch whatever is in my right hand to my left hand, and my left hand goes into my pocket.
Okay.
I dropped my whistle. Run it back about a minute. Right here, as this play changes, I go to switch my whistle to my right hand, and I drop it. And then I reach into my left pocket because I know my backup whistle is there, all the while thinking, crap, no fouls, no fouls. And now my whistle's out, and I officiate the game. My head did not drop off of play, so I could still adjudicate what was going on. However, I know I needed a whistle, so the throw-in was one here, or the ball went to the right, so we got to keep playing soccer, got to keep officiating. And then the ball gets played forward and then kicked out for a throw-in. So, the ball's out for a throw-in. Cool. I get to go get my stuff off the field.
It's interesting. I don't actually carry a backup whistle. Maybe I should
I've
start.
got an idea, Scott.
So I guess maybe this is like learn from our mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Proof positive that it does happen.
Yes, it does. And then we were done for that half.
So let's get the second half going.
Let's do it.
In the 43rd minute, we actually have the first goal of this game, and normally we don't talk about goals on the channel. But this goal is actually really nice. But I also want to give a shout out. My son was the goalie for the white team in this one, and it was actually his first game back after a knee injury, a pretty significant knee injury.
Took him out for a month.
Yeah, and he didn't play in the first half, so it was like third minute back after a month hiatus, and then there's this sick goal that I don't think anybody could have ever saved. Right here, this player shoots from like 20 yards outside the box, top right bin.
Oh yeah.
Now my son Aaron, he makes a really nice dive. Valiant,
perfectly timed jump.
Yeah, valiant effort, but I don't think anybody was saving that. But that's a nice goal. That's a nice goal.
All right, 44th minute. Play coming in towards the sideline here, and maybe it's a push, maybe it's a kick by the white player into the black player's right foot that's planted that makes it so that they can't take that next step. Regardless, it's a foul. Let's play.
And I think when I first saw this on video, I wondered if the player flopped a little bit, but watching it on video, clearly he gets him in the back there, and it's that contact that throws him down. It's interesting that one of the white players there is unhappy with the call because he's there even in a better position than you are.
Yeah, of course.
And but I think it's very clear that's a correct call there.
About 5 minutes later, we need to apologize for the camera. The camera's doing what the camera does. It's going to pan from the right to the left. Black controls the ball, white comes in to challenge, and a little pushy something or other. Easy foul. It's at midway. It's game control. And maybe white's not real happy. Kicks the ball away. It's 5-6 yards. It's something to keep track of as an official. If he chooses to do it far later into the match when they've got a lead or something silly like that.
Or if it had taken away a real advantage.
Taken away a real advantage. They've got, the black team's only got 2 players in front of the ball when it's poked away. So there's no real opportunity for a quick restart onto goal.
And he's not trying to.
Pin the ball to the ground. So something to be aware of.
Did you give him a verbal warning there?
I likely said something about, come on, bro, I did see you kick it away. No need. Let's go. All right, black attacking the goal. And good clearance out of the back. And we've got something. The white player did something to the black player to take the black player off of their stride. And I called the foul. And it was the last 2 players. The direction is wrong. We cannot have Dogso there. The direction is wrong. We're headed towards the end line. We're headed towards the corner flag. So the only thing we've got there is potentially stopping a promising attack, which for sure that was. If the black player is on stride, there's likely a better challenge there at where the goalkeeper corrals the ball. Call the foul, issue the yellow, and even 7's looking for the yellow. And please be assured that 7 demonstrating a yellow did not in any way influence my decision for a yellow. It was yellow as I was headed up.
Now, I noticed afterwards here, there's like this interaction here with these 2 players. Were they going at it a little bit, or were they, was that just...
I don't know. I saw that on the review and went, wait, what happened here? It may have been just that those were the 2 players that were involved and they were still chipping at each other. 57th minute, jostling around in front of the white bench. 7 and 10 doing some stuff here. This camera angle shows that 7 is yanking the white attacker's left shoulder away from the play, taking him off of how he might otherwise play the ball. This camera angle for sure says it's a foul. I'm likely looking through the body of the white player and so cannot see that pull at all. Make no decision on the field.
Yeah, right there, when this foul's happening, you're kind of looking, you're looking
I'm looking at the ball. My head's even down.
Yeah, and his body would be blocking it.
Yep.
And it's in front of their bench.
In front of their bench. And, well, as we've watched this play out, nobody's looking for that foul that definitely was back there. So based on this, the no call is a good call. However, based on the camera, that was a freaking foul.
So, yeah.
I'd like to take that deduction.
Okay.
All right, 63rd minute. White with the ball in the center circle, and we've got a pull and a kick, and no whistle at all.
Yeah, you made that a no call on the field.
It was a no call on the field. This camera helps me out and says, "Wow, bro, you missed it." Some of the reason I missed it is, as you can see, I'm straight line behind both of the players here, and the black player is pulling the white player's shirt, and
you're looking right down.
Looking right at the number 7. I couldn't have seen this at all, and the kick of the right foot, I must have missed that, and so yeah, had no foul here, no call.
I will say I was a spectator in this game. Of course, I'm sitting in the stands behind this camera, right? And from the stands, you've got, the best angle to see this, right?
Sure.
So everybody in the stands saw this one. This is the kind of call, honestly, that sometimes you start to lose spectators on. Mm-hmm. Now, I had been up there because I know you, and I had told them, oh, we got a really good ref for this one. Then this one happens, and people are looking at me like, what? I thought you said... And I'm like, well, I knew why you'd...
Oh, for sure.
I assumed that you were looking right up the line, and probably
absolutely.
he had just done a good job of hiding it from you.
What I had seen in this game is that the white team would build through the center circle and then distribute left or right. And so my positioning was anticipating the next left or right movement. And so I was in the middle of the circle so that I could make a movement either to the left or the right. If on the typical diagonal, I would have been closer to the hash mark on the 35-yard line and may have seen this, and so would have had a call. That is how the style of the way in which the teams are playing will help you make calls and affect you making calls. Those astute viewers will notice that 7 created the last no-call foul by pulling.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
Now he's gotten away with 2.
Yeah, he's gotten away with 2. All right, just a minute later, we've got a throw-in by the white team, controlled by white. He tries to go down the sideline, and the black player gets in the way. And conveniently, my body blocks all of the contacts. However, I had a trip here. It didn't take the player down. The player did maintain possession. However, it's an expected foul here. Yeah, we could have played on. However, there's no need to.
A couple minutes later, we've got an offside decision. White is attacking. Ball gets sent up there, and then the assistant referee goes in and pops up his flag. But if we back this up here to our moment of decision and take a look at where everybody is, right there is when he sends it. We can see over here that our attacker is there on the 20... our attacker here is on the 19, leaning forward. Looking at our second to last defender, they're kind of down here on the 18, but kind of leaning towards the camera. So this is so close, we can't really tell it with this camera angle. Nope. I think potentially he's on here based on where this camera is, but with that lean forward, impossible to tell. Mm-hmm. Assistant referee is an incredible angle.
Yep.
Would kind of like to see... the flag goes up there. Again, it's a little bit of a slower flag. I mean, he does it in the correct hand. He does it straight up, so that's good, but just on those close ones.
A few minutes later, White dribbling the ball through midfield, loses it, and a cynical grab of 12's left arm pulls him potentially off the ball. Easy foul. He's upset with the decision. It was a foul. Come on now.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
A match control type of foul. If I don't call that, the next grab is going to be more, and it's only a matter of time until somebody loses a shirt.
Mm-hmm. And I do think sometimes these types of things happen after we've had, a couple of misses here where they've done far worse than that.
Yes, right? Exactly.
And it's not been called. That's probably some of why he's upset in his own mind. He's like, oh, you let them, you do.
Right.
Right. But it's just angles, right?
Yep, it is.
Yep.
A minute later, White attacking the goal, control down the right side, passes the ball off, tries to thread it between the 2 defenders there to the attacker, and the defense gets in the way. However, coming in from the right side behind him with no chance to play the ball, the white attacker is sent to the ground. And so I've got stopping a promising attack / a cynical foul / it has no place in my game. Here I've got an extra parting gift for you. Go take a rest on the bench. Look, it's yellow. 71st minute, White coming down. Black challenging from a precarious position behind the White attacker. And in the position I was at, had Black getting the ball first, and then bodies came together and fell down. However, the participants on the field had a different take on this. All of the White teammates nearby were like, where's the foul? And so, Scott, any thoughts there?
Well, we can't make decisions based on what the players are telling us, though it sometimes gives us a litmus test, right, to gauge ourselves against. But when I both saw this as a spectator, but then also reviewing it here on the video, he definitely gets the ball first, right? Just getting the ball first isn't the only criteria. And it looks to me like, yes, he gets the ball, but then he initiates, the Black player still initiates the contact through the side of the thigh of the White player there. And so that's kind of different than the one we had earlier in the match where the contact was then initiated by the person who lost the ball. I think this one here, I don't know how he comes in from that angle, whipping his leg around to get in front of him and then doesn't initiate the contact. So to me, this looks like it's probably a foul. And, it looks to me like the way you're looking at it, you're close to it proximity-wise, but your angle on it looks like you're probably more focused on the ball, but also you might have struggled to see that contact, how it happened with the thigh. So I feel like this one's probably a foul.
Likely. I for sure wasn't looking at the right-hand sides of either of these two players. And likely from my position there, was looking through the back left hip of the Black player, saw the ball one, and didn't consider anything further. Looking at it from this angle here, you can see how the Black player's thigh comes down and hits the knee area of the White player, both on the left side, and takes him off his game.
So I think here, I think it's a foul. It sounds like you could probably go either way with it. I think probably the half-point deduction here is
I'm fine with that. Absolutely. 72nd minute, just a little bit later, the ball's coming out to the Black player. The Black player gets clipped on the right foot by the right foot of the White player, and the White player runs through and doesn't even look, doesn't even turn around, sort of expecting the foul and potentially a yellow card because he doesn't want to look at it. I don't know. There was no yellow card coming. It does look cynical at this point. We are in the waning minutes of this match, and White is looking for the equalizer goal, and so they're pressing hard, maybe being jerks, I don't know. However, it's a foul. We go with it.
Well, and I think also, just judging in the game, right, White is losing in a game that I have insider knowledge because obviously my son, I mentioned my son plays for the White team here, that they expected to win this game, right? And obviously at this point they're losing.
Yeah.
And when we look at our deductions at this point, really all of the deductions have been kind of missed calls that they thought should have gone their way, right?
Fair.
So I feel like there's multiple things kind of adding to some frustrations with themselves.
Yep.
And some frustrations maybe with their perceptions of a couple of calls that were, honestly missed, but missed, not their way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was missed in the opposite direction, so they could be getting fed up with the man at this point, and that man is me. Yeah. Immediately off the restart from that last foul, the ball is played in by Black, and Black gets folded over by White. That's a foul call. Again, it looks a little cynical, a little bit maybe more fervent, as Scott pointed out, that White's getting upset with the man, that officiating's not going their way, and so here I'm going to show you that I'm a better player, or something. I don't know.
Take their pound of flesh.
Right? Same minute, after that restart, White clears the ball up the sideline into no man's land, and I got this one here that was maybe marginal, maybe it was shoulder to shoulder, but if you slow it down and look at it, Black is clearly into the back.
Yeah, it gets him right there.
Gets him in the back of the shoulder, which is not shoulder to shoulder. It's in the back. And so, bam, foul called, go forward. And then 20s wonders what's going on. He's like, what the heck? I did nothing. And right there I said, I had you in the back of the shoulder.
I will say, as a spectator, when I saw this on the field, I wondered what the call was because it looked very shoulder to shoulder to me. It looked like a fair challenge. I can see what you're saying here now with, obviously being able to pause it right there. He kind of dips forward a little bit. It gets him a little bit in the back. I think if you were to not call this, you'd probably be fine as well, right?
Yeah.
But it is, to your point, it is right in front of the bench, and there's been some calls going the other way. So it's kind of a good match control call.
Yeah.
There in midfield, right?
Let's call it a match control call. This is one of those 51-49 type of deals or 55-45 balls that, maybe not. However, based on position on the field, we can win some goodwill. Is it a makeup call? No. All right, 3 minutes later, White driving the ball up. Camera's panning to the right, from the right to the left. Apologize for that. However, we see 23 about to receive the ball. We can see his arm in a funky position. The camera does not capture it very well. However, my position, looking at the space between the players, where the foul is going to occur, solid gold, had it. Both players can't believe it's a foul, or can't believe something. 23 wants something. 5's like, what? I did nothing. No, you grab the arm, stop. Set the ball down, put a hand on it. Kick, let's play. 78th minute. White attacking. And what the heck did 8 just do to that attacker? And then we've got White still on the ball, and White, oh my gosh, I could have, that could be a PI or PO. That's amazing. Whichever. Maybe it's the both. I'm pretty sure I gave it for the spa. That's great. So we got a foul here outside the penalty area. 8 contacts the attacker's leg. I'm in credible position. We go, and a yellow for you. You get a break. Let's run it back to midfield. Looks like 8 grabs and pulls and something. Absolutely a foul there. But however, based on where I was coming from, I saw the White attacker running down the sideline. Potential for an advantage. If that ball gets to the White attacker, advantage. Stone cold. If it goes out of bounds or is misplayed, we're coming back to these fouls.
Yep. And then, of course, there is the advantage here because he gets a really good call or no call there, or he gets advantage call.
Yep.
And then you get him there on the...
Yep, absolutely. Just a minute later, we've got an interesting offside decision that we'd like to discuss a little bit about how the optics of it. Black's going to clear it here. And wait, what happened at midfield there? So the ball goes straight to the keeper. We're not going to worry about it. There was no offense there, even if that player was offside. It's totally cool to be offside. You can have a picnic at the corner flag so long as you don't get the soccer ball. However, if we check this out here at midfield as we see these players, oh wait, look at that. The ball had just been struck.
It's even flown a little bit. Yeah.
It's even flown a little bit. We've got the black player at the 49 and the White defender creeping up from the 48. And the White defender says, oh crap, I got to stop. So everybody was looking at the ball and how it was struck, and now they're looking towards the players. Absolutely right here. Is that black player in an offside position based on this? Absolutely. However, that ball had already been played.
Yep. So we get some complaints from the coach here. We can actually hear it on the audio. Yeah, kind of multiple things here. One, the video shows that he wasn't actually off. Mm-hmm. And then 2, even if he had been off, or at least in an offside position, he's not guilty of an offense because he never got involved in play.
Well, he wasn't involved in play. That's the thing, is offside position happens all the time. Offside offenses, you've got to be involved with play, influencing a defender, gaining an advantage, or playing the ball.
Okay.
All right, just a few seconds later, we've got a ball that's in the air, aerial challenge. White throws a leg, black throws a body. Looks like black, well, I mean, the video ain't lying here. Black is contacted by White's boot, well above where we would expect a boot to be. Both players were jumping, and it still hit the black player in the midsection between the ribs and the waist. So that has no place in our game. We had contact. Playing in a dangerous manner with contact is a direct free kick foul. And since we're up so high, we've got the yellow card.
Now, I will say, as a spectator in this match, where I'm obviously, I have my bias of wanting my son's team to win.
Of course.
When I saw this on the field, I thought, wait, why is Black getting the kick here? Like, he jumped into our player. Now, some time separated from the match and now watching on video with my referee hat on, I think this is 100% the right call, because the white player here, he kicks up high, in which a high kick is not by itself a foul, but could be playing in a dangerous manner. And he gets that leg up to where an opponent who's coming in and making was a reasonable challenge. He jumps into the space where that foot is elevated. He doesn't jump into the player's body.
Not at all.
Right. And so actually, now with retrospect and separating myself from the game, I actually think it's 100% the right call.
Yeah. As you can see, the white player was not contacted in the torso by the black player jumping in and through the space. And so that's why the foul went in the direction it did. If that boot's not up there, those players probably don't even touch each other.
Yep.
Per NFHS rule, must sub off until the next substitution opportunity, which is precarious, seeing as how this is the 79th minute and it is the last decision that we have in this match.
Yeah, so at this point, there's no guarantees actually even getting back in the game. And he's one of their best players. He ended up being the league MVP.
Oh, wow.
I have that insider information because it's my son's team, but he ended up being the league MVP. So major kind of decision and mistake on his part at that point in the game. Now, fun fact, because we don't show most goals, he actually does end up re-entering this game and scoring in extra time
within seconds of entering.
Yeah, the tying goal.
Yes.
But that was the last decision. So then, he had re-entered the game, scored the tying goal off of a corner.
Yeah.
And then I think you were kind of into the 3rd minute of extra time here, very end of the match. And then there's actually this really nice breakaway. Again, that same player.
Same player.
He has a really fantastic breakaway here, gets past this last defender. At this point, I'm in the stands cheering, they're going to win, they're going to win, they're going to win. Oh, just misses it.
Yeah, and he knew it.
Yeah, that was a golden opportunity. That player, he doesn't normally miss those types of opportunities, and so this was they made it a game at the end, kind of found their stride, but really interesting game, and I think you blew it dead almost immediately after this.
I think it was off the goal kick, yeah.
All right, so Chris, that wraps up this game. Let's check how your Sapper score turned out. Right. With 35 decisions and 2.5 deductions in this match, that gives you a final Sapper score of 92.9%. So that is on the higher end of what we consider to be a good game for the rules of the channel. So very well done.
Absolutely appreciate that.
And then even the deductions that we had here, they were, with the camera angle we had, they seemed more obvious, but they also weren't critical match decisions.
No, they weren't.
They were in parts of the field where they didn't really impact the game. Yeah. So, very well done.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. The match felt right for me. I came in expecting to referee this match in the rain. Luckily, the rain held off. The rain stopped before we started, which was nice. So the conditions were right to run, and run did I do. It was around a 5-mile match for me, and
these are both really good teams. Both teams made deep playoff runs.
That's correct. Yeah,
correctly, right?
They did. The game was not affected by the officiating, which is the goal of every official everywhere in every sport. We don't want to take it over. It might seem like we're trying to make it about us. We're really not trying to.
So, I think good game management techniques picked up in this, and a few lessons learned, and all in all, got the boys offside.
For sure.
Yeah,
that's it.
So that wraps up this game review. Thanks for joining us. We'll join us back here for the next one. I'm Scott.
I'm Chris.
And we'll see you out on the pitch. I'm going to clap my hands 3 times so I can find and sync the audio at the appropriate time.
I like that a lot.
Tips I've picked up over time. Right?
Where does the audio go?
Yeah. We are going to redneck engineer this.
We could just run a piece of paper in there.
You're messing with my redneck.
No, I'm not messing with your redneckness. I fully support it. It's fine.
An old hillbilly from Arkansas. You don't want to.
Yeah, fair. I had forgotten the Arkansas thing.
Redneck engineering.
Yeah.
So that is decision number 8. All right.
Still perfect.
Yeah, still perfect. Still perfect. Still going.
Sound like Katie when I say things like that.
And I've been humbled.
Right? Oh no, it's coming.
Like, so far, there hasn't been a perfect game on the channel, right?
Right? You just want to have the first one. I get it. It's fine. No.
Well, I don't know if it'll ever happen. But I don't want it to not be me. If it's right.
That's great.
And so spectators are up all around like, whoa, what's happening? Scott, you said this was a good ref. What's going on?
That's great.